Before I begin, I just wanted to do a quick apology, not for doing anything too crazy, but just because I might sound a little off. I've been sick, taking care of my baby boy, then taking care of my wife, then taking care of my baby boy again, then taking care of my wife. It is now fallen upon me, this huge sickness that just seems to be a circular tornado of death. That's a good way to describe it, but I am trying to get through it, and I want to record this because this is important stuff, man. So make sure you show your love for me by doing the YouTube crap. Anyways, let's talk about this now because Sony is currently, and it's been confirmed at least, that they are in talks with buying Kadokawa, which is the parent company that owns a lot of other video game companies like FromSoftware and Chunsoft. And nothing's been confirmed yet, and nothing's happened, and it could very well be that nothing will happen, but yes, Sony is in talks, or is at least attempting to purchase FromSoftware and Chunsoft, really just Kadokawa, that whole entire company, but they would, by default, basically own these companies. Now, what makes this interesting is the fact that Sony actually already has a decent-sized amount of stock in FromSoftware. They own technically about 14% of the company based off of stock. And if they were to purchase Kadokawa, it would round up to over 80% of ownership of FromSoftware. So they would basically just straight up own FromSoftware. Even if it's not 100%, if you own 80% of that company's market share, you basically own the company. You can kind of pull the strings and tell that company to do whatever it is you want them to do. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of over these acquisition things. I mean, these things tend to happen, but this whole concept at this point of just the big companies gobbling up all of the other companies, I don't like it anymore. Look, we've already seen a lot of what Microsoft is doing right now, and the fact that they bought ZeniMax, which is basically Bethesda, as an example, and of course Activision Blizzard, that huge buyout. It hasn't, in my opinion, been a very good thing for us gamers as a whole. There's been, and that's a whole video on a whole bigger discussion of why I don't really like it. And I was willing to see what it was like, but now that I've seen it, I don't like it, man. I don't like what they've done with Bethesda. I don't like what they've done with Activision Blizzard. It hasn't improved any of this stuff, in my opinion. The monetization practices, after these acquisitions, we got to see Game Pass Ultimate go up, and it hasn't really sat that well with me personally. So naturally then, I really don't want to see Sony basically having ownership over FromSoft and Chunsoft. I mean, Chunsoft, just as an example, is one of my favorite publishers. I really like the games they bring over here to the West. Danganronpa is a great example of that, and eventually Danganronpa even saw its way going to the Xbox consoles. It went to PlayStation, it's on Nintendo Switch, it's on PC, and that's what I like to see because I want everybody to experience Danganronpa, to experience the magic and joy of watching teenagers end up trying to kill each other and get away with it in a murder mystery, excellent done, well-polished visual novel, crazy, bats out of hell visual novel. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody to experience Danganronpa and all the other Chunsoft games like AI the Somnium Files. It's on every single platform, and I want everybody to experience that one too because that is just an excellent game. And the same can be said too with FromSoftware, right? I want everybody to play the Dark Souls games. I want everybody to experience Bloodborne, which I understand will probably never happen because Bloodborne, apparently Sony really hates money. For a company that just lost hundreds of $millions on Concord, they sure have a funny way of not listening to the fan base when everybody is clamoring for a Bloodborne remaster, basically, one that runs in 4K, 60 frames, and everyone's ready to just throw money at this game. It's crazy how they just won't do it, but everybody should have the opportunity to play Bloodborne and Sekiro and Elden Ring, right? Everybody should have an opportunity to play some of the best games in the last decade. And if Sony buys this, not everybody's going to be able to play it. It's easy to think that if you really want to play a FromSoftware game, that you could just go buy a PlayStation console, but not everybody has that type of money. A lot of people I know can only afford one console at a time for every 3 to 4 years. So if they wanted a console, they have to choose. They have to choose either saving up for a PC or an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Nintendo console, and you can only choose one. And so it's not like everybody just has infinite amount of money that they could just go and drop X amount of dollars, buy all the consoles, do all the things, and be able to play any game they want. That's just not how the world works. That's not a realistic expectation. And on one hand, I get it. It's definitely understandable for companies to have exclusives to a certain extent, because there has to be some sort of draw for gamers to want to purchase said console. That's why Nintendo does so well when they have so many IPs that you could only, legally at least, find on the Nintendo Switch. There's a big draw towards getting a Nintendo Switch. But PlayStation and Microsoft and Nintendo, they have plenty of IPs at this point. They don't need any more companies, and they don't need any more exclusivity. I mean, look at PlayStation's catalog of IPs, and you will see that they have plenty that they can work with and plenty that they can use and accomplish and do. And really, they're slowly but surely kind of turning into Microsoft, where they just don't do a lot with their IPs. And it's just kind of a head scratcher because they have them. They just need to utilize them better. And I'm always going to be on the side of pro gamer, as in I don't ever try to really go to bat for companies, not typically unless they're doing something that I actually enjoy, which is usually pretty rare. But I'm always in favor of games not being exclusive if it has the choice. For example, if you were to say Tomb Raider can be exclusive to PlayStation or it can be multi-plat, why on earth would I not choose multi-plat? I want everybody to experience the joy that is Tomb Raider, just like I want everybody to experience all of the FromSoftware games that they want to play. I don't want this exclusivity idea to be a thing, and you never know. Maybe Sony will buy it and just make it multi-plat and just take all that money, which would be a smarter move in my opinion, because trust me, the next FromSoftware game that they release, it's going to sell like hotcakes. So maybe they'll do that, but all the same, I don't want them acquiring Kodokawa. I don't want them to get their hands on FromSoftware or Spike Chunsoft or anything like that, because I just want everybody to enjoy these great franchises from these great publishers and developers. I am Bradley Overrated. Thank you for taking the time to listen to some sick guy discuss video games on the internet. And as always, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Later.